Good evening, Salaam Alaikum, and welcome to tonight's episode of Talking Point. I'm your host, Syed Neaz Ahmad. In our studios today, we have a very distinguished gentleman. He's a doctor, oncologist, member of the Royal College of Physicians, and fellow of the Royal College of Radiologists, Dr. Imtiaz Ahmed. He will be accompanied by a guitarist, Mr. Tanzeel Tahmid. We are going to talk about culture, but particularly about music and Tagore and other lyricists, poets who have contributed to our very rich culture. Welcome to tonight's episode, sir. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Imtiaz. Very many thanks to you and NTV today for having me here. And also
thank you. We have been planning to have you, but your very tight schedule between oncology and music does not give you enough time.
You can find some time still. Thank you.
I have always been fascinated by the medical profession. See. We have a number of doctors in our family. See. But what fascinates me is that most medical professionals, they are also interested in culture. I have yet to come across an engineer who is interested in some sort of music or some other things. See, but maybe there are exceptions.
Yeah, there are a lot of
definitely there are exceptions. Sure. But I remember that back in Dhaka Medical College, you see, the boys and girls, they are very much into cultural activities. You see, I do not know whether you went to the same college or not. You see, but wherever you were, I'm sure that you had this orientation into culture.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in a musical family. Music came from my family, but right. You're absolutely right that the music and the medical profession, a lot of people are interested in music, but particularly music. It's because of, I think, probably sometimes to take out the stress that you're going through, you know, in your career when you're actually studying it and right. afterwards. So it is a good way.
It's a very demanding career.
Yeah, it is.
I understand that you excuse me, you received early education in music at home.
Yes, I
at the hands of your dad.
My dad, yeah, Dr. Syed Ahmad. At very early age, I mean, tender age of 2 or 3, I started singing. And yeah. And
then later you went to professional ustadjis.
Yes. I learned initially from Ustad Mozammel Hussain, and here when I came to UK, I then learned from Pandit Ganguly, and you know my main sort of interest in music is Tagore. My guru is Wahidul Haq and Sanjida Khatun, and I also learned from Maya Sen.
And they were all in
Bangladesh and India. They are the pioneer in terms of teaching Tagore music. And here nowadays, I also started to learning for my own sake from Srimati Chanda Chakravarti to a little bit of Indian classical again for my own
Did
benefit.
you have any occasion to go to Shanti Niketan?
Oh yes, quite a few times, yes.
How was the experience?
Oh, it is a pilgrimage for, you know, I call myself as Tagore's, when we grew up, we probably were Tagore's children because most of our, my contemporaries, my friends, we grew through Tagore music and literature and learned through it. So yes, so it's a very peaceful place for me.
What attracted you towards music? I know that it was a musical background in your family, but mostly doctors' children do not become doctors because they hate it.
Yeah, you can tell it to my children. Yes, absolutely. But yeah, I don't know. I think I am into the music when I'm born. So I really, you know, it's like your air. Without music, I cannot survive. I will probably not be the same person without music. So that's what it is to me. And then when as I say, we grew through a period when I'm very much like myself to be called as Tagore's children in a different way, you know, both intellectual and other ways. And you actually learn it passively, you learn it actively, you're into the music, you're into the culture.
Right,
so yeah, I can't really tell you why I'm into this, but I am into it.
Right. See, I mean, when you arrived in this country, I mean, the music is always influenced by the weather and the mood, you see, but in this dark and dreary and gloomy weather,
Yeah.
how did you manage to keep it alive, your interest in music?
Yeah, very interesting question, because that's why you need music more, you see, because
Keep
it
your
might be,
spirits high.
yeah, keep it spirit high. As I say, this is stressful in a, this is a very stressful life that you lead work-wise, and then you come home, and if you sit in front of television, you get the passive recreation. But if you then sing, that gives you much more, energy into it, and you de-stress yourself, and it's quite interesting. So when we learned music in Bangladesh, for example, and when I do music here, personal feeling is completely different, because you do in Bangladesh, as you say, your whole community is doing it, but that's different. But here you do it for yourself, and also you then reach out to community to make sure that it sort of flourishes here as well.
Yeah, but the community is smaller, yet with people like you around, the culture is still alive and kicking.
I mean, you need to go out and reach out to people, so make sure that you do your duties to get the this, what do you call it, say, the light of music alive here as well, especially.
It's nice to know. I was reading about you, and it's nice to know that you have just not just kept it alive through your own musical efforts, but you're also teaching at a couple of schools.
Yeah, I mean, I have my own institution, Anandadhara Arts, where I regularly take classes both for adults and children, and also I used to take more regularly in Shottenshin School of Performing Arts and teaching young children and adults. Yeah, that's something I dedicated my weekends most of the time to teach.
Is this kind of people are oriented towards adopting a profession, or just for the sake of learning?
I think it is not for the profession, but you see, most important thing for us is to understand music and appreciate music, appreciate good music, and that is our prime sort of aim. And
I have heard that there's an expression, there's Gan and Khan.
Yes, you're right. I mean, often it says that if 50% is your voice, 50% is your hearing.
Right.
And that's true, but you don't have, the aim of these classes are not to make huge number of very good singers, but just make sure that we get people who are interested in music and also can see the world through music.
Right.
And particularly my particular interest is what you call in Bangla Brindo Gan, in other words, the chorus, because it's an art. You can sing individually, it's okay, but when you are actually taking part in a group and singing in a choir here, but chorus in Bengali, it's quite
it's like playing football in a team, 11 persons all together.
Yes, and it is very difficult, and teach each and everybody the same music, and you're actually singing exactly the same. It's a difficult art.
Well, hats off to you, because you're also trying to keep the culture alive, see, and pass it on to the next generation.
I don't know whether how much I am doing, but at least that's what my my goal is, to make sure that I can teach people at least however little I know.
But are we succeeding?
I think so. I mean, when I first came in, there weren't that many music schools, and if you now look at in East London and different part of London, there are a lot of music, Bengali, especially Bengali music schools running, and both from people from Bangladesh and West Bengal, they're running it, and it's quite. And and not only the aim of these schools is to take our children back to roots, but also to reach out to the other non-Bengali population, the the English population here, and get out to them and reach out to them and create a bonding through our culture.
Who are your students? Are they mostly from Bangladesh?
Yes, they're mostly from Bangladesh.
But are these students fresh immigrants, children of fresh immigrants, or because there's a difference, you see, in perception of people who have been here for 30 years and people who came here only a couple of years ago?
I think it's a mixture. It's a mixture of some people are here for many years, and their grandchildren, they're coming to us, and also some people are only for a year or so. They're also coming, taking their children to us, and yeah, it's a mixture of both.
Do you think that we are facing any troubles or difficulties in doing this because our culture is completely, in contrast with the prevalent culture here in this country? So, as the child goes out through the first front door, he's in England. See, comes in, he's in Bangladesh. See.
Yeah. So that's really important that you have the exposure of both. And if you then think about music, because music is universal, you see, it should not be bound by any geography or any territory.
Right.
And then when you actually see that way, then it is quite important that the child or any adult sees the whole world through that music, so they don't feel segregated through the music. So it's a completely contrary to the what you just said, that we would like to reach out to overall to the globe, to the world through music, through Bengali music, and then obviously then understanding the world music, and then that's how we meet.
So we have to involve the other communities also.
Oh yes, absolutely right. You got, that's the aim, to reach out, and not only yes, we would like our children to learn, but also to go out and reach out to the overall population.
But they can't reach out without learning their own music. So
of course, yes.
I mean, we have these iconic functions like Baishakhi Mela, you see, and a lot of people say that this is doing a wonderful job, you see, by making contacts and reaching out to the other communities. But is it, or is it just I'm trying to teach myself and my children, we are trying to convert the converted, you see?
Yeah, part of it is like that, unfortunately. But I think the overall the philosophy behind it is actually pretty good, because when you are celebrating your rich heritage through the a very and anyone can take part and join. It's very much open festival, and I think that openness, that invitation to everybody, not only Bengalis, is very important, so that they can come and join and also enjoy the rich heritage that we have. And both with music and poetry and all other forms of culture.
And share it through the media, because now if we come to media and we say social media, it's very easy to, put on a video of yours and then you can reach out the world. And the other day I was watching an Afghan singer who looks very much like the Canadian Prime Minister. And he was on BBC, and he's a look-alike, almost look-alike. But it's nothing to do with Canada. But his song became so popular, and then people looked at him and they said, he looks like somebody else.
You're absolutely right. The social media is much more strong than what it was, say, even a few years ago.
It's like a tool in the hands of common man. He can reach out to the millions.
That's the benefit of
How much are we using it to our benefit?
I think people do use YouTube and Facebook, for example, and other medias to reach out, and it does help. And my friends, say, for example, in Bangladesh, now know what I am doing here. For it was unheard of, whatever we're doing here, a few years back. So I'm just giving an example. So that's how you reach out to not only your family, you also reach out to other globally.
Other communities. Like in real time, what you are doing here is somebody can be watching you from anywhere on this earth, because you would they would not even know who you are, but they can watch you through the media, and media has developed so much. Could we have an example of any particular song, just a few lines?
Okay, a few lines, yes. I mean, I think probably a lot of songs are coming in our next segments. So perhaps I would just for few lines, 2 lines of a very famous Tego song to start.
আকাশ ভরা সূর্য তারা বিশ্ব ভরা প্রাণ তাহারি মাঝখানে আমি পেয়েছি মোর স্থান বিস্ময়ে জাগে আমার গান আকাশ ভরা।
Well, that was great. That was great. Do you know the time when it was composed?
Oh no, I don't know about this one. What time he was, but this is certainly one of the greatest, one of the very, very famous Tagore songs, and it's at the beginning of his seasonal songs when he's talking about his, you know, he was a very, interestingly, always nature lover. A lot of poets have got a lot of, yeah, no, but kind of, he went back to nature every time. When he's in happiness, when he's in sorrow, he went back to nature.
Right.
And not very poets would have done that, but that's very interesting. And he
well, on that very interesting point, we'll need to take a break.
Sure.
Thank you for being with us. We will have to take a short break. Don't go away. We'll be back soon.